There is so much these days demanding our attention. News, texts, emails, internet, social media, work, pets, family, friends. The list goes on and on. Lately, I've been feeling pulled in a lot of different directions as to where I should be placing my attention. Something will come up and I'll have a choice. Do I give it attention or do I ignore it? More often than not, I end up giving in, and it turns out to be something that wasn't deserved of my attention whatsoever. So this makes me ask, why do I do this? With everything going on in the world today, you know what I'm talking about. It makes me feel like I'm not allowed to ignore things. If I ignore certain things, then I'm part of the problem. But if I dedicate too much of my attention to these things, then it starts to weigh on my mental health in a negative way. For example, I'm gonna be very honest with you all. I watched the election for 4 days straight like a hawk. I was that Matthew McConaughey meme. And I was paying for it. I was getting terrible sleep, I was unproductive, I was distracted, and most of all, I was stressed. And for what? Nothing. I voted, so there was nothing else I could control. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Tack on the stress of COVID and work and general life stuff, then you have the recipe for a stress stew. And we all know it takes a lot to make a stew. So what's the solution? Ignore things. Well, not all things. The trick is to learn how to identify the small, arbitrary things that you just really don't need to pay attention to and aren't worth your time or energy. But how do you know which of the things those are? And this takes a little bit of time, but it's important to start small. Ask yourself, if you ignore the news for a day, what downsides will come of it? If you ignore your phone for an hour, will that be mentally beneficial for you? If you ignore social media for a little while, will that offer you some peace? Now I understand a lot of things require our immediate attention, but not everything. And it's up to you to set boundaries for yourself. The faster you realize that you can't do everything, then the faster you can start weeding out those toxic things in your life. Okay, so I think now is probably a pretty good time for a disclaimer. Do not ignore really important stuff. Examples: babies, pets, a boiling pot, your check engine light, your wife or husband, important medical stuff, changing the smoke alarm batteries, a running bath, your grandmother, and more. The trick is, of course, being able to identify the things that are okay to ignore and the things that you shouldn't ignore. And I know there's a little bit of gray area in there, but I know there's a lot of people out there, including myself, that spend a lot of attention and a lot of energy on a bunch of unhealthy things. The point is that we are in control of what we ignore. And the first step towards this is creating awareness for yourself. So before you start giving your energy away all willy-nilly, start asking yourself, does this even deserve my attention? And if the answer is no, then maybe it's just best to ignore it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys are all getting the mental headspace that you need to traverse these wild and wacky times that we're going through right now. But just know that there are things that you are allowed to ignore, and hopefully it can help you in the long run. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, give it a share, a subscribe, all those things. I don't often ask for those things, but I do enjoy them. So thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the near future.